Hi, thank you so much for having me today. My name is Albert Abraham Michelson, and I am from the Case School of Applied Science. My experiment, the Michelson-Morley experiment, is a project where we wish to compare the speed of light in perpendicular directions in order to detect the relative motion through the luminiferous ether. Also, we want to find the presence and properties of this aforementioned ether. During mine and Edward's experiment, we were trying to detect the motion of Earth through the luminiferous ether. Also, we were trying to measure this substance because we believed it was a required medium for light waves to travel, since sound waves require air to propagate through. This experiment took place in July of 1887 in a basement of Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. It was imperative that this experiment took place in a basement so that there would be much fewer factors to mess up our results. Let's see. My experiment took place in 1887, and if I remember correctly, there were many significant events happening around this time. For example, Heinrich Hertz discovered the photoelectric effect, which is very prominent in the physics community. Nikola Tesla began experimenting with X-rays. Also, in a non-physics related example, the US Senate approves the naval base lease of Pearl Harbor. So, I originally did this experiment by myself in 1881, although it didn't quite work out how I wanted it to. I eventually met Edward Williams Morley, who was a prominent scientist and professor at Western Reserve University. He was known as a skilled experimenter, which caught my attention. So, I decided to team up with him and continue working on this experiment in order to get the results I hoped for. Now, this experiment is known as Michelson-Morley experiment after the two of us. One of my main roles in this project was my invention of the interferometer. For those who don't know what this is, the interferometer used a beam splitter that split a light source into two arms. Each of those light beams is reflected back toward the beam splitter, which then combines their amplitudes. Because of this interferometer, the interference of light waves were used to achieve extremely accurate measurements, and I am quite proud of it. Well, our project ended by discovering that there is no need for light waves to travel through the luminiferous ether. So many people believed that we failed. Although there were a couple of significant impacts that were a result of our experiment. For example, it was discovered that the speed of light is 186,350 miles per second, which is an extraordinary discovery and very relevant to the Physics Society. Also, our data from this experiment later helped to back up Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. I always love answering this question. I was actually lucky enough to receive many types of recognition throughout my lifetime. In 1907, I was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. Also in 1907, I was given the Copley Medal. In 1916, I received the Henry Draper Medal, and then later, in 1923, I was quite happy to accept the gold medal of the Royal Astronomical Society. I am so honored to have received all of these medals and many more throughout my lifetime. Thank you again for allowing me to do this interview today. I hope everyone learned so much about my experiment, the Michelson-Morley experiment.